repeatedly quote what you said about letting professional managers guide a lot of our decisions that this committee makes. I think we've done too much politicizing of a lot of natural resource issues. I will get into those, but I am going to inquire of Ledge Council. Do you agree with the assessment that this bill's goal and the functional reality of it is that there needs to be a net environmental benefit? I mean, would that be your would you be able to draw that interpretation from your reading of the bill? I realize it's a very broad question, but it was a statement that was made, and I'm curious if you would draw that same conclusion that in the end, in order for these projects to be approved, there needs to be a net environmental benefit shown.
You talked about the goal of the bill. I can't speak to that, but what I do agree with is that one of the factors that the department is required to assess in determining whether to issue an individual permit under this bill is the positive or negative environmental impact of the proposed project, the net positive or negative environmental impact. So that's something the department is required to take into account. And then also that the standards for issuing the permit requires that the department determine that the proposed project will not result in significant adverse impact to wetland functional values, water quality, or other significant environmental consequences.
One of the factors, though. I mean,
that is one of three, that all of which have to be found for the permit to be issued.
And I guess a couple quick follow-up. And Representative Milroy, Rocha, did you have a chance to look at the memo that was sent out by the Wetlands Association yet?
I saw it yesterday and I scanned it briefly.
I guess I would just hope that, I was going to ask him, since you haven't looked at it, but if there were some specific areas of agreement in looking at that and right off the bat, and maybe some areas where you think there could be some work done. I would hope that, I mean, this is what this committee process is for, is to work through these things and get us to a place where we even get there. So I would hope that you can take a look at that and we can find some ways to work together. And then the other final thing I really have for you, and this is from personal experience, and it concerns me when we look at development that's happened. And we talked about externalizing the cost. Developers can go into an area, get approved. I had a house that, my first home that I bought, it was in Sturgeon Bay. And I remember one of the guys telling me this, it was in the city limits. 50-year-old house or so, 56-year-old house. And some of the older folks, oh yeah, I remember I used to go canoeing right where your house is. And I said, well, that explains why my basement's wet for 2 months out of the year and the sump pump runs constant. Are we willing, I mean, one of the things I think we need to honestly look at is that if we do development in these types of projects, that there's going to be some, at least for some period of time, some responsibility on the developer. As an example, I looked at those folks who were here testifying, complaining. The beauty of technology, I pulled up a map of their, I was able to locate their place on a map, pulled it up, and from one glance at an aerial photo, somebody misled them. Now, I don't know whether they built or the house was there, but it was just from a rough glance, there were hydric soils present, just from a quick view. So somebody told them that they could build there, and they had some problems. So I'm wondering if we've got a system or something we can look at to say that if you're going to be building in these places and when everything's all said and done, there's going to be some guarantees in place to either the local community, the person you built for, the homeowners, that they're going to have some sense that there won't be, that they aren't going to be left holding the bag. And that's one of my big concerns.
Well, and Representative Danou, I appreciate that. And someone asked the question earlier about who is responsible, and I chuckled in the back of the room, forgive me, but they listed the local government, state government, and the developer or the builder. Well, of all of those people, the only people that are legally responsible under the law are the developer and builder. And that's ironic because recently the state updated its floodplain maps, and there were houses that were built outside of the floodplain. The state changed the line, they're now inside the floodplain.